Attorney General Maura Healey isn't the Democratic nominee for governor yet. She still has a primary challenger in Senator Sonia Chang-Diaz.
But that has not stopped Republicans from going after Healey with a new ad suggesting that she condones street violence. WBZ's John Keller is putting that claim to the truth test.
Please join me in welcoming Massachusetts Attorney General Maura Healey.
It was June 2nd, 2020, 8 days after the murder of George Floyd by a Minneapolis cop, 2 days after a spasm of looting and violence in downtown Boston, following a round of peaceful protests. And in an emotional speech to the Greater Boston Chamber of Commerce, Maura Healey called for an end to racism in American life.
Our cities were under attack.
But as this ad from the Massachusetts GOP notes, street violence was dominating the headlines, and they seized on the final line of Healey's speech.
And how does Maura Healey respond?
America is burning, but that's how forests grow.
Maura Healey? Really?
A statement from the party later that day claimed Healey had, quote, appeared to cheer on the destruction of American cities at the hands of leftist mobs. And party chairman Jim Lyons was quoted as saying, no matter what else Democrats like Attorney General Healey say, they will always condone mob tactics. In a statement to WBZ News, a Healey campaign spokesperson says, quote, it's clear Maura was expressing her optimism about building a better future together and has acknowledged using a poor metaphor in a speech to the Boston Chamber. She was not condoning violence in any way. And earlier in that same speech, Healey said this.
I support calls for a revolution, but not the revolution of violence in our streets. Instead, I'm calling for a revolution in mindset, a fundamental change to our ingrained assumptions.
And there's nuance here. We saw ads in 2020 in the presidential race that tried to tie all Democrats to looting and rioting.
Yeah, and I guess we're seeing a version of that. Can that approach work here?
Well, they had some success with it in other states in 2020, no doubt about it. But look, fear of crime is a very real issue, and as the state's top law officer, any evidence that Maura Healey is soft on crime would certainly be problematic. One problem, outside of this ill-conceived remark she made, there is no such evidence. And one weird thing about this, Paul and Lisa, the Republicans don't seem that enthusiastic about this message. We reached out to the state party, Chairman Lyons, both Republican candidates for governor. None of them got back to us. They're not putting much money behind this ad. It would seem to me they'd want a little free TV time to push this message, but apparently not. So I don't really get it.
Just maybe a balloon.
Kind of.
That's right.
Trial balloon. Yeah,
See what
exactly.
happens. Thank you, John.